Level 1, the lithosphere. Welcome to the grinder. If the crust is the skin, the lithosphere is the bone, and bones can snap. This layer includes the crust and the brittle uppermost part of the mantle, but it isn't one solid piece. It's shattered, broken into massive, jagged jigsaw pieces we call tectonic plates, and they are moving. Imagine a puzzle where the pieces don't fit, they just crash. The lithosphere is the engine of kinetic violence. This is where the Earth turns potential energy into kinetic obliteration. When these plates lock together, pressure builds. For centuries, the rock bends, it groans, it stores energy equivalent to thousands of nuclear warheads. And then, in a single millisecond, it slips. We call it an earthquake, but that word is too soft. It is a planetary convulsion. Consider the sheer mechanics of a subduction zone. One massive slab of the lithosphere is forced violently under another, diving into the burning depths. The friction generates heat so intense it melts rock. The snap generates shockwaves that can liquefy soil, toppling skyscrapers like houses of cards. This layer turns solid ground into a liquid weapon. When the lithosphere moves, it doesn't just shake the surface, it displaces oceans. It creates walls of water moving at the speed of a jetliner. This layer is responsible for the most immediate, violent deaths in geological history. It is cold, hard, and unforgiving. It crushes, it grinds. It is the mechanical press that reshapes continents. But here is the terrifying truth. The lithosphere is only dangerous because it is rigid. It breaks because it fights the pressure. But deeper down, the rules of physics change entirely. The rock stops breaking and starts flowing. You are about to enter a world where stone behaves like water. Level 2, the Deep Mantle. This is the plastic ocean. We have descended past the point of breaking. We are now hundreds of kilometers deep, inside the asthenosphere and the mesosphere. The pressure here is so crushing that the concept of solid loses its meaning. The rock here is hot, over 1,000 degrees Celsius, but it doesn't melt into a liquid. Instead, it becomes ductile, plastic. Visualizing this is difficult for the human mind. Imagine granite, hard, impenetrable granite. Now imagine that granite flowing like honey. This isn't a static layer. It is a churning, convective nightmare. Heat from the core creates massive currents in this rock ocean. Hot rock rises, cools, and sinks again. This cycle takes millions of years, but the force is unstoppable. These currents are the unseen hands that drag the tectonic plates above. They rip continents apart. They stitch them back together. Imagine the scale, a current of solid rock thousands of miles wide, creeping steadily, relentlessly. It is a slow-motion recycling plant. The ground you walked on level 0, eventually the deep mantle will swallow it. It pulls the crust down, melts it, mixes it, and churns it back into the planetary mix. Everything on the surface is just temporary debris waiting to be consumed by the mantle. This layer is the definition of raw power. It dictates the shape of the world. It creates volcanoes. It drives the drift of nations. But for decades, scientists thought this layer was uniform, a smooth mixing pot of green olivine rock. They were wrong. Scans of the deep Earth have revealed that the mantle isn't empty. There are things down there, anomalies, massive, dense structures that defy explanation. If you thought a churning ocean of rock was disturbing, wait until you see the graveyard hidden at the bottom of level 3. Level 3, the D layer and LLSVPs. We are now 2,900 kilometers down, the core mantle boundary. This is the alien graveyard. In the world of geophysics, this is where the nightmares begin. Scientists call them LLSVPs, large low shear velocity provinces. That is the polite scientific term. A better name would be the blobs. There are two of them. One is buried beneath the Pacific Ocean. The other is buried beneath Africa. These are not small pockets of magma. They are continent-sized mountains. Picture a mountain range 100 times larger than Mount Everest, but instead of rising into the sky, it is buried deep inside the planet, sitting on top of the core like a tumor. The seismic waves slow down when they hit these structures. They are denser, hotter, and chemically different from the rest of the Earth. Where did they come from? The leading theory is terrifying. Go back 4.5 billion years. A Mars-sized planet named Theia collides with the proto-Earth. The impact creates the moon, but what happened to the rest of Theia? The theory suggests that Theia didn't just vaporize, it was swallowed. These blobs, these massive anomalies under our feet, might be the corpses of an alien planet. We are living on a graveyard. Chunks of an ancient world are still intact, embedded in the deep earth, influencing our magnetic field, creating super plumes of magma that rise to the surface to create hotspots like Hawaii and Iceland. But there is another theory, the slab graveyard. This suggests that these blobs are the piled-up remains of ancient tectonic plates that were subducted billions of years ago. The sunken ruins of ancient surface worlds piled up at the bottom of the mantle like shipwrecks on the ocean floor. This layer proves the Earth is not just a rock, it is a tomb. But while these alien mountains sit in silence, they are resting on top of something that is anything but quiet. They are the shores bordering a violently screaming ocean. Level 4, the outer core. Welcome to the magnetic storm. We have crossed the boundary. The rock is gone. There is no silica here, no mountains, only metal. This is a sea of liquid iron and nickel, roughly the size of Mars, churning at temperatures rivaling the surface of the sun, over 4,000 degrees Celsius. Imagine an ocean of molten metal. Now imagine that ocean is spinning faster than the speed of sound. The viscosity here is shockingly low. It's not thick like lava. It flows as easily as water. This creates a chaotic, turbulent maelstrom. Coriolis forces from the Earth's rotation twist this liquid iron into spiraling columns of fire. These aren't just currents. They are tornadoes of molten metal thousands of miles high. This violence is the only reason you are alive. This is the geodynamo. The movement of this conductive metal generates the magnetosphere, the invisible force field that protects Earth from the sun. Without the violent churning of level 4, the solar wind would strip away our atmosphere in days. We would be irradiated. We would be dead. But this shield is not stable. History proves it. Look at the Lechamp excursion, 41,000 years ago. The flows in the outer core became chaotic. The magnetic field collapsed to just 5% of its current strength. Cosmic rays bombarded the planet. Carbon-14 levels spiked. The ozone layer was shredded. It was a planetary crisis driven entirely by the fluid dynamics of this layer. The outer core is a beast that must be kept fed. It requires heat. It requires movement. It is a delicate, roaring engine that balances on a knife's edge. But the most terrifying thing about a hurricane is the eye. In the center of this molten storm, the liquid stops. The chaos freezes. You are approaching the object that dictates the fate of the entire planet. Level 5, the inner core, the crystal prison. We are at the center, 5,150 kilometers beneath the surface. Here, the temperature hits 5,400 degrees Celsius. That is hotter than the surface of the sun. By all laws of logic, everything here should be vaporized, but it isn't. The pressure is the monster here, 3.6 million atmospheres. Imagine the weight of 3.6 million skies crushing down on you at once. This pressure is so absolute, so overwhelming, that it forces the iron atoms to lock together into a solid state despite the hellish heat. It prohibits melting, it forces order out of chaos. The inner core is a solid ball of iron-nickel alloy, roughly 70% the size of the moon, and it is strange. It is distinct. In 1936, seismologist Ing Lehmann discovered that this wasn't just liquid. It was a solid object, a planet within a planet. And this inner planet acts on its own free will. Recent studies in 2023 suggest that the inner core rotates independently of the Earth. Sometimes it spins faster, sometimes it slows down. It might even pause and reverse. When the inner core shifts, the length of our day changes by milliseconds. The global magnetic field wobbles. This crystal ball is the thermal battery of our world. It grows by freezing the liquid iron of the outer core onto its surface, roughly 1 millimeter a year. It is slowly, methodically consuming the liquid ocean above it. It is a parasite feeding on the layer that keeps us safe. It feels distant, abstract, but this growth leads to the final existential horror. The inner core is not just a place, it is a clock, and it is counting down. Level 6, the core solidification, the apex predator, the planetary death. This is not a layer you can visit. This is a moment in time waiting for us. The hierarchy of horror ends here. The Earth's engine works because of a temperature difference. The inner core is hot, the mantle is cooler. This releases heat, driving the convection in the outer core, which generates the magnetic field. But the inner core is growing. It is cooling the planet from the inside out. As it freezes more iron, the liquid outer core shrinks. The fuel for the dynamo is running out. Eventually, billions of years from now, the inner core will consume the outer core entirely. The liquid ocean of metal will freeze solid. The moment that happens, the dynamo stops. Silence. The magnetic field will vanish instantly. There will be no shield. The solar wind, traveling at 400 kilometers per second, will slam directly into the Earth's atmosphere. It will strip away the ozone. It will blow the air into space. The oceans will evaporate and be lost to the vacuum. The Earth will become a dead red rock, just like Mars. Mars once had a core like ours. Mars once had an ocean, but its core froze. Its heart stopped beating, and now it is a frozen wasteland. Level 6 is the inevitable destiny of our world. The monster isn't an asteroid, it isn't climate change, it is the thermodynamics of the ground beneath your feet. We are living on a dying battery. So the next time you stand outside and feel the solid ground, remember the apple skin, remember the churning ocean of fire, and remember that the stillness you feel isn't safety. It is simply the calm before the ultimate cold.